Players wait in the dugout. 3-2. In the air, left field. There's Happ. He's got it. Ball game. The Cubs are headed to the postseason.
From MLB.com, this is the Morning Lineup Podcast. I'm your host, Mandy Bell. Today's Thursday, September 18th, and the Cubs spent their Wednesday afternoon popping champagne bottles. Justin Verlander continued to prove that age is just a number, and Shohei Ohtani teased the idea of getting back out in the outfield. We'll cover all of this and everything else that happened yesterday, all in under 10 minutes. Let's get to it. Not everyone is quick to put the champagne on ice when they're on the verge of clinching a postseason berth, especially when the division title is still technically up for grabs. But the Cubs weren't taking any chances. When O'Neill Cruz flew out to Cubs left fielder Ian Happ to solidify Chicago's 8-4 victory over the Pirates, Happ gave a slight fist pump as he hustled into the infield to start the celebration that's been nearly a decade in the making. It's been since 2020 since the Cubs were last in the playoffs, a year in which celebrations were basically limited to fist bumps because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Before that, Chicago worked its way into the playoffs in 2018, but they opted against celebrating because they wanted to wait until they claimed the division crown. But they didn't. So there was no doubt, champagne showers were on deck. The Cubs still have more to play for before October baseball gets here. They currently sit 5 games back of the first place Brewers for the NL Central title. Now, as we quickly inch closer to the end of the regular season, that math becomes more difficult to pull off, especially when these two don't face each other again this year. But it's not impossible. Plus, the Cubs own the tiebreaker against Milwaukee. Regardless of what spot they end up in, they'll be playing in October, and all that matters is making sure Wednesday's celebration isn't the only one they'll have in 2025. The goal now is to bring home another World Series title. The Giants, on the other hand, are still fighting for a shot at securing an NL wildcard spot after fighting back from a 10-game deficit just over a month ago. And Justin Verlander has been a huge part of that success. Yes, that's right, 42-year-old Justin Verlander has stepped up to carry this pitching staff like the veteran that he is. The man who just hit 20 years of service time has found his second gear in the second half of the season and entered Wednesday's start having given up just 3 runs on 17 hits in his previous 24 innings. The story was no different against the Diamondbacks.
7 shutout innings today for Justin Verlander. That'll probably be it for him. What a start again by the future Hall of Famer. Wow.
That was 7 scoreless innings for Verlander, allowing just 3 hits with 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. The problem was, as it's been when Verlander has been on the rubber, run support, or lack thereof. Verlander departed the game in a scoreless tie. It stayed that way until the 11th inning, when a combination of a single, double, sacrifice fly, and another single put up a 5 spot to give the Giants a 5-1 victory.
Devers lines one into left field, base hit. Here comes Koss rounding third, heading home. Here comes McCarthy throwing. Safe! And it is 5-0 Giants.
So the Giants are 2 back of the Mets for the last wildcard spot. But let's get back to Verlander really quickly because we can't just gloss over how impressive his performances have been. According to Sarah Langs, this is the first time in his career that Verlander has allowed 1 or 0 runs over a 4-outing span. The only other pitcher aged 42 or older to do so in a 4-start span over the last 125 seasons was Roger Clemens in 2005. This doesn't sound like a man who's ready to hang up the cleats just yet. 2025 has been the return of Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher. Could it also be the return of Shohei Ohtani, the outfielder? More after the break. Even before the Dodgers beat the Phillies 5-0, Shohei Ohtani was stealing all the headlines. And no, it was not because of this.
Ohtani smashes a ball, right center field. It is gone in 51.
And let's be real, this win was powered mostly by a stellar 12 strikeout performance by Blake Snell.
Snell finishes off 7 scoreless innings with his 12th strikeout of the night.
Instead, most of the Ohtani talk was all about whether he'll play in the outfield during the playoffs. Why? Well, LA may want to explore some different bullpen options in October, and Ohtani's name has come up in conversation. But that may present a problem. Per baseball's current rules, when Ohtani starts a game on the mound and is replaced, he's able to remain in the game as the designated hitter. But if he were to start the game as the DH and then pitch in relief, the Dodgers would lose the DH once Ohtani's pitching appearance was done. That's going to be a no-go for the Dodgers, who will want Ohtani in the batter's box as much as possible. A possible solution? Putting Ohtani in the outfield. He hasn't played there since 2021 with the Angels and hasn't taken reps there all season, so Dodgers manager Dave Roberts didn't seem fully committed to this idea when he was asked, but Ohtani said he's ready to play if he's called on. Elsewhere around baseball, the Guardians have done everything in their power to make a run at a postseason berth the last few weeks. They picked up their 6th straight win last night by defeating the Tigers 4-0. All they needed was a Red Sox loss, and suddenly they'd just be 1.5 games out of contention. Instead,
Sogard swings, rolls it towards second. Geloff collects, fires home, not in time! Eaton safe with a headlong dive, and the Red Sox walk it off 5-4.
An extra inning walk-off infield single gave the Red Sox a 5-4 win over the A's, and now they found themselves in a tie for the last 2 AL wildcard spots, but more on that in a second. The Guardians are 2.5 games back of the wildcard, but they're also 4.5 behind the first-place Tigers for the AL Central title. With the series finale today and another 3-game series against the division foe next week in Cleveland, nothing is impossible. Okay, so back to the tie in the wild card. The Astros and Mariners have been going toe-to-toe for the AL West crown. After Seattle's timely 10-game winning streak, they slid into the top spot, but after they fell, snapping that streak to the Royals 7-5, as Kansas City closer Carlos Estevez picked up his 40th save of the season, the Mariners dropped back into the wild card. And the Astros, well, they beat the Rangers 5-2, thanks largely to a clutch 2-run homer by Jose Altuve that moved Houston atop the AL West leaderboard. So to recap, the Astros are in first in the AL West, the Mariners and Red Sox are tied for the final 2 wildcard spots, and the Guardians are 2.5 games back. The Yankees, who own the top AL wildcard spot, beat the Twins 10-5 as Trent Grisham hit 2 homers. Along with the Giants, the Reds are also chasing down the Mets for that last NL wildcard spot. Cincinnati first baseman Spencer Steer drove in 5 runs in the Reds' 6-2 win over the Cardinals. Meanwhile, the Mets fell to the Padres 7-4 despite Juan Soto hitting his 41st homer of the season because, well, Manny Machado hit his 14th career grand slam to put San Diego on top. So both the Reds and the Giants are 2 games behind the Mets, while Arizona is 1.5. For the rest of yesterday's scores, visit MLB.com. Coming up today, the Guardians will try for a critical sweep of the Tigers as they desperately cling to their playoff hopes. And it's set up to be a good one. Tanner Bybee will take on Tarek Skubal, who had to remove himself from his last start after feeling tightness in his side. First pitch is slated for 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all for today's morning lineup. Will Leach will get you caught up to speed on all things baseball tomorrow. As always, please be sure to give us a rating and a review and share this episode with the baseball lovers in your life. Thanks for listening and have a great day.